Good evening. I'm in my truck. That's what I do for a living. Getting ready to take 18 wheels out on the road, and I continue to be the edgy old white guy getting my videos kicked off of YouTube, which makes me feel kind of good. One, good that YouTube is being careful with its videos, and two, that I'm not just dealing with topics that don't mean anything. So if it's not controversial, why are we talking about it? The video I put up, we'll try again, was about, especially since I'm an evangelical and have been going to my evangelical churches for 40 years. It seems strange to me that there are some evangelicals who would say that the inoculation against COVID is somehow a mark of the beast, or is somehow connected to abortion. So I wanted to cover that. First of all, you get the vaccination right there, and the mark of the beast is supposed to be either on the head or on the hand. So that seems a non sequitur, but mostly it's that the mark of the beast in Revelation, which is a book I love, delightful book of the Bible, love it to death. The Bible's true from the table of contents to the book of maps. Yes, sirree. And the world was created in 7 days, and that's the point is that the mark of the beast confers privileges, and the lack of the mark brings about detriment to those who do not have it in the book of Revelation. If you have the mark, you can buy and sell. If you don't, you can't. And that is not at all what's happening with this with this inoculation. No one's being forced to get it. No one is suffering any difficulties from not having it, and no one's getting any privileges for having it. Right now, you're allowed in restaurants and things if you've been inoculated, but nobody's checking on that. I'm the only person in the world that I've seen who actually had his inoculation card laminated, and I punched a hole in it, then I put it on my Teamster pocket clip, and so people would know if I go in and I'm to a place and I'm not using my face mask that I've been inoculated. But I'm the only person in the world, and nobody cares whether I have it on or have it off. So that's not at all the mark of the beast. But insofar as the connection with abortion, it is true that there was stem cell lines used in the development of the vaccine. There are no stem cells used in the production of the vaccine, but it was used in the development. But the trick is that you're so far removed. You've heard of shunning. I've heard of shunning. Mostly we think of it as something that Amish might do, but it happens all the time. You're going to a church and you find out someone's involved in something that is particularly heinous to you, and I keep checking back to see if my load's ready, so I can hit the road. If it's, then you might stop having associations with that person. Well, that's 1 degree of removal, but it happens all the time. Say your wife, or your wife decides she's going to continue having a relationship with that person. She's come up with her own reasons, and if the difficulty is severe enough, then you might say, well, now I'm not going to have associations with my wife because she's decided to have associations with the person who's doing this awful thing. 2 degrees. And say someone at church decides to, quote, side with your wife, and continue to have association with your wife who's decided not to end the association with the person who's done whatever it is that we feel is terribly bad, then you might decide not to have an association with that person who attends your church, and that's 3 degrees of removal. And it can go on like that, and it goes on exponentially like that as well. So that when we apply that to the vaccine, we are so far removed. By the time you get the inoculation in your arm, you're 100 degrees removed from the harvesting of the stem cell line at the very, very beginning. And in fact, if you applied the same logic to any shunning you might do with an individual involved in some awful thing, you wouldn't be able to associate with anybody in the entire United States, assuming everybody has four acquaintances, and you go 15 steps of removal, and we're a good 100 and more steps removed from the stem cell line to the actual vaccine that you get in your arms. That's how I take it. We'll see if this passes YouTube inspection. If not, I'll just tell my wife that she's married to a very edgy, old trucker, evangelical white guy. And that'll be a blast.